तो हेलो गाइस, मैं हूँ आपका प्यारा वरेण्यम और आज हम पढ़ने वाले हैं चैप्टर 2 द स्टोन एज। तो यह पढ़ने से पहले ना इसका एनिमेशन देख लेते हैं। तो यह लो
Paleolithic Age 500,000 BC to 10,000 BC. The word Paleolithic comes from a Greek word which means old stone. Thus, this period is also known as Old Stone Age. The primitive men were basically nomads. They did not settle in one particular place. They moved from one place to another in search of food and shelter. Men at that time lived in forests. Hunting was the only means by which they used to gather food. They used to eat raw flesh of animals which they hunted and fruits, roots, and vegetables which they gathered. So, they were known as the hunter-gatherers. They wore animal skins, bark of trees, and leaves, and in winter they usually lived in caves. Early men made two important discoveries which changed their life. First, they discovered fire. Second, they invented how to make tools. Discovery of fire. The discovery of fire was a mere accident. The striking of two pieces of stones while making tools produced a spark, which when came in contact with dry leaves burst into flames. Fire provided man with warmth and light. From then onwards, man started eating roasted meat instead of raw flesh. They used to light a fire at the entrance of the caves to protect themselves from wild animals. Fire also helped men during the cold season to keep themselves warm as they wore minimum clothes. Making of tools. Initially, man had used pieces of large stones as tools and weapons. He now started making stone tools. He shaped stones for different needs, for cutting trees, killing and skinning animals, chopping meat, etc. Hammers, axes, scrapers, choppers belonging to this age have been found in many places in India. Man made two types of tools: core tools used for making other tools and flake tools made from smaller pieces of stone. Paleolithic sites have been discovered in the Swan Valley in Pakistan and Balan Valley in Uttar Pradesh and at Bhimbetka near Bhopal. Mesolithic Age 10,000 BC to 8,000 BC. This period is of relatively shorter duration, but significant changes took place during this age. This period is also called the Middle Stone Age. Man now started making smaller, sharper, and more efficient tools. Because of their size, these tools were called microliths. Micro means small. Lith means stone. The new tools included bone tools, borers, scrapers, and arrowheads. Axes were given wooden handles which made them easier to use. The bow and arrows helped man in hunting fast-moving animals. These tools have been found in Punjab, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, and Andhra Pradesh in India. It was towards the end of this period that man discovered agriculture and cultivation and gradually began to lead a settled life. Neolithic Age, New Stone Age, 8000 BC to 4000 BC. Neolithic Age was the New Stone Age. In this age, man progressed still further. He learned to make better tools, grow food crops, and domesticate animals. This age is better known for discovery of agriculture, making of fine pottery, and the invention of the wheel. Agriculture. Like fire, man discovered agriculture by chance. Early man ate fruits and threw away the seeds. Gradually, these seeds germinated into new plants. This was a great discovery, and man started growing plants from seeds. Early man became a food producer from being a food gatherer. He stopped being a nomad and started leading a settled life. Instead of being a wanderer, he began to live a settled life in a place suitable for agriculture. Gradually, they started settling on the banks of rivers and lakes where water was available. For this, they needed a shelter. Man constructed dwellings out of things which were easily available, mud and leaves. People began to live in groups. These settlements grew into villages. Man began to produce enough grain which had to be stored, and so he made baskets which were plastered with mud. Star fact: agriculture or cultivating crops for food was a very important discovery. Man realized that seeds dropped on the ground, watered well, and receiving enough sunshine would grow into plants that would bear grains and fruits. His food habits also changed. Now he grew wheat, barley, and vegetables. So his diet consisted of meat, fish, fruits, milk, barley, and grains. With the discovery of agriculture, man realized the importance of domesticating animals like dog. He realized that instead of killing goats, sheep, and oxen, he should domesticate them. He used the oxen as a means of transport. Man used animals in many ways. Animals such as oxen, horses, donkeys helped him in transportation and moving heavy loads from one place to another. Goats and cows supplied man with milk. He got wool from the sheep to protect himself from the cold. Important Neolithic sites are Chirand, Bihar, Gafkral, and Burzahom, Jammu and Kashmir, Mehergarh in Pakistan, and Maski and Halur, Karnataka. Pottery. As man began to get milk, vessels were needed to store them. So, he made earthen pots. These pots were given different shapes and dried in the sun. The pots were then baked in an oven to make them harder. Some pots were decorated with various designs of animal figures on them. The invention of wheel. The invention of wheel brought many changes in the life of man. The use of wheel made transportation easier and faster. Wheel was put to great use by the potters. They started making fine potteries of different shapes and sizes quickly on wheels. Later, the wheel was also used for spinning and weaving. Then man began to make cloth. Social life. Man is a social animal. Even the primitive man used to move and live in groups. These groups were called clans and a combination of several clans is called a tribe. After agriculture became known to them, they settled down and villages developed. The eldest or the strongest man of the clan was chosen as the village headman. He had the responsibility of protecting the entire clan from external dangers, such as invaders. Goods and services were now exchanged, and thus the barter system started. This system of barter existed until coin money came into use. In a family, women looked after the household and men took part in outdoor activities. Religion. Even when men settled down in villages, they could not understand the mysteries of nature, like the rising and setting of the sun, reasons behind thunder or lightning, or the causes of rain or thunder showers. So, they started to fear these natural forces. They thought the diseases from which they suffered were due to God's anger. So, they tried to pacify God's anger through prayers. Man started worshipping the forces of nature as gods. The early men believed that death was a journey to another world. So, when they buried the dead bodies, they used to keep pots, weapons, etc., which they believed would be required in the other world. Despite these changes and progress, one thing was lacking in the early men. They did not know how to write. The knowledge of writing came at a much later stage.